Hi, and welcome to the first of the flipped videos to go with Algebra 1. What we're going to be looking at today are how to solve one-step equations. I'm also going to be focusing on what your notes should look like as you finish these problems up. So I'm going to draw on the board what would be a typical page, make some marks on it to help identify where you should be looking as you take notes in this course. For those not in my actual course, we're just coming here for some example problems. I apologize for some of that side comment, but perhaps these techniques will help you in your own classes. So let's start with a basic problem we might see on the page. X plus 3 equals 7. The goal in algebra is to identify the value of x that makes that a true statement. So the goal is to come up with a number that we would substitute for x that would make it so that that number plus 3 equals 7. One of the great dangers in algebra is the fact that, generally speaking, the easiest problems where we develop our skills and get a lot of good practice in are also the easiest to do mentally. Many of you probably watching have already figured out what number would go here to finish this problem off, or have come up with alternate methods to quickly get to an answer and move on to the next. The problem with that, of course, is it doesn't get us practice in the skills that we need to do the later problems that are more involved, have many more steps, and require much better organization. So early on here, we're going to focus on these organizational skills. Now, something we're going to be working on more later is the picture to go with the problem. I'm going to model it here, but not spend a lot of time talking about it. That will come in a later lesson. The equal sign represents the fact that the two sides of the equation are balanced. They equal each other. So I'm going to draw the two sides of a scale. So the idea is this. Whatever I put on this side of the scale will balance this side of the scale. If one side is heavier than the other, then the scale will tip to the left or to the right. Since this shows that they are equal, it's establishing that these two weights have to match. Now, according to my formula, the 7 on the right side represents 7 items. So I'm going to draw 5, 6, 7. There we go. 7 circles with plus signs in them. These 7 items represent that 7. Now, on the left side of the equation, I'm going to draw a box. That box represents x. I don't know what's in the box, but I do know that for the scale to balance, I need to add 3 pluses to this side of the scale. Now it's balanced. The box, which I don't know how many numbers are in, what value is in there, plus 3 items, balances, or is equal to 7 items. And again, since this is a fairly easy problem, many of us are already getting to our answer. Now I'm going to actually complete my work. Now if this were my page, here's my sheet of paper. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this paper in half. So there's the crease down the middle of the page. Now this is a very important part of what we're going to be doing in class. So when I grade your notes, I'm going to be looking for the crease or a line. You can do both if you want, but I need to see some division in the problem with the lines running this way down the page. The lines will make sense in a moment. Now, I'm going to write down my problem. To begin my work. Always copy the problem onto the page. Never start your work on the paper, because when you come back later, you may not have the initial problem, thus this is not a useful study guide. I'm also going to take a moment, and again, we'll work on this more later, I'll re-sketch this balance there. I'm going to just kind of do a real rough sketch next to it. Because I want to be confident that I can visualize what this problem could be talking about. This will help as the problems become more complicated. Now, as you remember from pre-algebra or other classes we took before Algebra 1, there's a process we can use to solve this. Depending on who you had, the format in which you write it may vary. I'm going to write it in the way that I traditionally have learned to do it, and if your way is a little bit different, that's okay. And that is to write minus 3 on either side of the equal sign, because I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides of my equation. On the left side of the equation, x plus 3 minus 3 leaves me simply x. On the right side of the equation, I have a 4. So my final answer is that x must equal 4. Now, what's going on over here in this open space? I'm going to write down exactly what I did on this step. So I'm going to write subtract 3 from both sides. You must write out in words what you are doing on every step. This is non-negotiable. The final thing I need to do with my problem is my check. And so now I'll do the check. I'll substitute back in for x what I think it represents. And I write a question mark over the equal sign because I want to be sure that I'm marking that I don't know confidently that the left side equals the right side. Now what I'll do is I'll actually start to simplify this. 4 plus 3 is 7, and that matches. So over here where my words are going, I'm going to write down substituting 4x makes x plus 3 equals 7 true. And now my problem is complete. I realize that this seems like a great deal of work for one simple problem that many of us completed back on minute 1 in our heads. However, this setup will help us as we move forward, and your initial assignments are as much about getting the process as it is to getting to the answer of x equals 4. All right, take a breather. In our next video, we'll do another one of these problems together.